start recording here. Okay, and let me tell you what we are doing. Let me pull up my page. Okay. So I'm hoping that all of you received an email from College Board so far. Did you guys get an email yesterday?
No, I don't get any emails from them. That's frustrating me right now.
I don't get emails from them, but Mrs. Strand normally forwards the emails she gets to me. So like I feel like I'm still getting a lot of it, but I don't get direct emails from them.
Okay. Because college, the Facebook page that I'm on, a lot of people were saying my kids didn't get emails. My kids didn't get emails. So, okay, I will forward this one that I did get because I didn't want to like clog up your email thing. Okay. So what they're sending was, where to go? Actually, it's on the way. That's on the website. Okay. What they're sending is something that you can do sort of like a practice exam. Okay. So if you are not interested in taking the AP exam a week from Wednesday, just ignore their emails. Don't worry about it. If you did get the email and you plan on taking the test next week, follow their directions. I will forward that to you so you can see what their directions are. Okay. You have to figure out all the technology. Okay. There's nothing I can do on my side or the school can do. You get to figure all that out. Okay. If you have a bad internet connection and would like to take the exam in an empty classroom at the school, let me know. You can piggyback on our Wi-Fi. So just let us know. Okay. So part of the email that they're going to be sending you, you'll click on it and you will get a page that looks like this. Enter your AP ID. This is for the exam demo. You can enter practice. Okay. And so this is what I want you to do if you're planning to take the test. Do this practice thing. If you don't have your 8-character AP ID, I do. I have everybody's. Okay. So if you don't have it, you don't have to get on the College Board thing or whatever, email me. I'll send it to you. I may just send it to everybody anyway, just so you've got that.
Please do.
Okay. So here you can do your practice exam, see how it goes, like with the uploading and doing everything. So that's your experience there. So then also, in the past, I told you that I would let you know this week if you have a chance at passing the exam or not. I've already had a lot of people send me emails, and I'll let you know what I think, okay? So it doesn't matter what I say. You can still decide to take the test or not. But if you're on the fence deciding, I'll give you my feedback. Okay, so I'm not going to discuss it here. I'll just discuss it with you in an email. All right. So I'll send everybody that email that they sent for the practice thing, and I will also send you your AP code. Okay. All right. Any questions about the test or emails or anything? We're good. Okay.
On the website, they were like saying something like if you have certain extensions on your computer, you need to take them off and all that.
Oh, okay.
So I just was so confused because I was like, how do I take it off?
That's why you go into that practice thing. So when you go into here, do the practice, it will let you know if there's some issues.
Okay.
If you got problems. If it doesn't say you've got any problems, don't worry about it. We're good. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, once you get into there and start doing it, let me know what happens. Because I don't know. None of us have done this before. It's fun stuff. Okay. So I decided this week we need to take a break from prose writing. And I know the test is just next week, but studies have shown that if you are really just focusing on the same thing over and over ad nauseum, you tend to start receding. You start going backwards in that. But if you take a break and energize your brain with something else, and then you return to it, you tend to do a lot better. Okay. So, and I felt like, gosh, we're just teaching the test. I don't like this. I want to teach literature. So I said, let's just do poetry this week. Let's just do something completely different, fun, engage your mind in new gears. And then when we go back, you'll be even more raring to go. Okay. So I have given you 10 poems, actually 11. The first one we're not going to do. And we're going to briefly, we're already running out of time. We're going to briefly talk about the first 5 poems. Okay. get your impressions on them. Then on Thursday, we're going to do the last 5 poems and get your impressions on those too. Okay. And I've got a page that I want you to fill out for this. Let me get that page up. Okay. So this is on the Google Docs. The link should work. This is what I want you to do for each of these poems. Tell me the name of the poem. The rating for you personally, a scale of 1 to 10. 1, I hate it. 5, it's okay. 10, I love it. Okay. And then explain why you gave it that rating. Then give me a line that you particularly enjoyed, or if you hate the poem, a line that you found tolerably interesting. Okay. Then tell me a line that confused you, or you didn't understand, or you hated. Okay. And then I want you to identify one literary device used in the poem and give me an example. So this is just your little analysis part, okay? You're gonna do this 10 times. This is not a huge thing. As you can tell, there's not a lot of space. I'm not expecting a big analysis like we done earlier. I wanted more to just kind of get a nice breadth of poetry, not so much depth, but more breadth here. And you're gonna do this 10 times. I've given you 10 entries here. So you can do all of these. And just have some fun. Explore what kind of poetry you like. One of these is very modern. It was printed like in February of this year. And other ones are back in the 1800s. So trying to give you a wide range of poetry to look at. Okay. So let's just kind of go quickly at these poems here. Don't have time to do the lanyard. All this is hilarious. I love it. I did give you on the website the poet reading this. And there's an audience, you get the audience feedback, which is kind of fun. Okay. So yeah, Mother's Day is this Sunday, guys, just to remind you in case you needed that reminder. Okay. So
Much appreciated, because I forgot my mom's birthday in February, so.
Oh no, yeah, my husband forgot his dad's birthday, but his dad's got memory problems, so we figured it's okay. Really bad, I know. Okay, so I have a combination of men and women's poems, all kinds of things. So this is from Sylvia Plath. It's called Mirror. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of read through these so you can get you can hear it and think about it. I am silver and exact. I have no preconceptions. Whatever you see, I swallow immediately, just as it is, unmisted by love or dislike. I am not cruel, only truthful. The eye of a little god, four-cornered. Most of the time, I meditate on the opposite wall. It is pink with speckles. I have looked at it so long, I think it is part of my heart, but it flickers. Faces and darkness separate us over and over. Now I am a lake. A woman bends over me, searching my reaches for what she really is. Then she turns to those liars, the candles or the moon. I see her back and reflect it faithfully. She rewards me with tears and an agitation of hands. I am important to her. She comes and goes. Each morning it is her face that replaces the darkness. In me she has drowned a young girl, and in me an old woman rises toward her day after day like a terrible fish. Okay, so this is a mirror, okay? And this is how the mirror is responding to this woman. All right, what's your initial feedback, your response to this?
I mean, like, love Sylvia Plath, so I really like this poem.
What do you like about it?
I like all the descriptions she gives, and I like how she's communicating something by personifying the mirror, and she's speaking as the mirror. And I think, like, it's almost like it's telling the mirror side of the story. Like, it's almost like the mirror is hurt because people look into it, and it's not like the mirror is lying or showing them a mistruth or something, but a lot of people still are upset by what they see in the mirror. But it's not the mirror's fault, it's their own. It's because they're taking what they want out of the mirror.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like I'm just reflecting the truth, you know. And then you've got these liars that are the candles and the moon. They're the ones that are not telling you what's really true. I am, you know. And then so we've got the mirror, and then with the mirror also becomes, where is it? A lake? Where is it?
Yeah.
I've lost it.
Now I am a lake.
There it is. Yep. Now I'm a lake. Okay. So there's always been these mirrors in these women's lives. Okay. And this lake, she has drowned a young girl in this lake. What does this say about the speaker in the poem? The girl is looking. She's getting older, right?
Yeah, like this is something she's looked into her whole life.
Yeah. And now an old woman rises toward her in this lake like a terrible fish. You know, this really resonates with me. Like, oh my gosh, I've been scanning photo albums from my family from like the early 1990s, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so much older now. So it's kind of like, oh no, there's the terrible fish. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, so think about how you would want to rate it, what you like, what you dislike. Find a literary device, which Michaela already pointed out, personification, but there's a lot more in there too. Okay. The next one is funeral blues. And I think the version I've actually put numbers by these, so this will be easier for you. This is a very famous one, and in fact, there is, if you ever seen Four Weddings and a Funeral, this is the poem that he reads in that. I might find that link and put it in there. So this is from the 1900s too. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone. Silence the pianos and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let airplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, he is dead. Put crepe bows around the white necks of the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out everyone. Pack up the moon, dismantle the sun, pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever come to any good. All right. So this is Funeral Blues. Obviously, this is someone in mourning. Okay. And what's your impression of this one? Tell me what you think.
I like it because like it has like defined rhyme scheme kind of, and it conveys like pretty good, like the feeling of like loss, I think. But it's funny though at the same time because like the first time I how do you say, read that one, I thought it was kind of like sarcastic because I thought he was talking like, oh, someone is dead and like, oh, like let's be over the top and like I don't know. I thought it was sarcastic for some reason.
There's a great deal of hyperbole in this.
Mm-hmm.
So stars aren't wanted now. Put out all the stars. Pack up the moon. Dismantle the sun. We don't want any of that. Okay. So on the one hand, you could see it as sarcastic. Oh, the world's ending. And on the other hand, though, you can see this guy really means his world has ended. You go. So it's kind of hard to comprehend such a depth of despair and mourning. So I think reflexively we go, oh, he's just like taking it over the top. But yeah, so I think that's kind of a safety thing. We go, oh, he's just kind of a little ridiculous. But no, he really, really means it. So yeah, go ahead and look at this one and see what you would want to write about that one. Okay. I think we go over a little bit of time here. So this is Oatmeal by Galway Kinnell. And I believe he's Irish. Okay. And I like this one because it tells a story in this poem, and it's a very different kind of poem. I eat oatmeal for breakfast. I make it on the hot plate and put skimmed milk on it. I eat it alone. I am aware that it is not good to eat oatmeal alone. Its consistency is such that it is better for your mental health if someone eats it with you. That is why I often think of an imaginary companion to have breakfast with. Possibly, it is even worse to eat oatmeal with an imaginary companion. Nevertheless, yesterday morning, I ate my oatmeal porridge, as he called it, with John Keats. Keats said I was absolutely right to invite him. Due to its glutinous texture, gluey lumpishness, hint of slime, and unusual willingness to disintegrate, Oatmeal should not be eaten alone. He said that in his opinion, however, it is perfectly okay to eat it with an imaginary companion, and that he himself had enjoyed memorable porridges with Edmund Spenser and John Milton. Even if eating oatmeal with an imaginary companion is not as wholesome as Keats claims, still, you can learn something from it. Yesterday morning, for instance, Keats told me about writing the Ode to a Nightingale. He had a heck of a time finishing it, those were his words. Boy, I had an heck of a time, he said, more or less speaking through his porridge. He wrote it quickly on scraps of paper, which he then stuck in his pocket. But when he got home, he couldn't figure out the order of the stanzas. And he and a friend spread the papers on a table, and they made some sense of them, but he isn't sure to this day if they got it right. An entire stanza may have slipped into the lining of his jacket through a hole in his pocket. He still wonders about the occasional sense of drift between stanzas, and the way here and there a line will go into the configuration of a Muslim at prayer, then raise itself up and peer about, and then lay itself down slightly off the mark, causing the poem to have moved forward with a reckless shining wobble. He said someone told him that later in life that Wordsworth heard about the scraps of paper on the table and tried shuffling some of the stanzas on his own, but only made matters worse. I would not have known any of this but for my reluctance to eat oatmeal alone. When breakfast was over, John recited To Autumn. He recited it slowly with much feeling, and he articulated the words lovingly, with his odd accent sounding so sweet. He didn't offer the story to writing to Autumn. I doubt if there is much of one. But he did say the sight of just harvest oat field got him. Sorry, I gotta fix that. But he did say the sight of a just harvest oat field got him started on it, and two of the lines, for summer hath overbrimmed their clammy cells, and thou watchest the last oozings hours by hours, came to him while eating oatmeal alone. I can see him drawing a spoon through the stuff, gazing into the glimmering furrows, muttering, maybe there is no sublime, only the shining of the Amnion's tatters. For supper tonight, I'm going to have a baked potato left over from lunch. I am aware that a leftover baked potato is damp, slippery, and simultaneously gummy and crumbly, and therefore I'm going to invite Patrick Kavanaugh to join me. All right, so that is this guy's poem about oatmeal. All right, what are your thoughts on this one? Your initial impressions?
I love how he's inviting like these other poets to eat oatmeal with him, and like he caught the accent of Keats, and like
I didn't.
like, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna have a leftover baked potato tonight, let me just invite this Irish poet over. And like I love that.
Yeah. Ireland, poem, potatoes. Yeah, it all goes together.
Also, I loved his story about like how Ode to a Nightingale, he's like, oh yeah, Keats wrote him on a bunch of scraps of paper and then they got mixed up, because like when you look at Ode to a Nightingale, like they're in very distinct pieces, so you can almost imagine that he was just like, well, I have all these pieces, let's find a good order and then call it a day.
Yeah, because when you do read that poem, and when I've done this in the past, we actually read that poem and then we did this. I haven't had the time, obviously. But yeah, you read it and you go, that would make sense. That he, maybe he even lost a stanza in his jacket. Who knows? I mean,
yeah.
And it makes the poets feel so very real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're real people who eat oatmeal and go, and while I was digging through the oatmeal, I was thinking about this. It's like, oh, this is so fun. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So there's some fun things to pull out in here. Some fun little lines. So there's that one. Okay. A very different one, Jim Northrup. Oh goodness, I believe he's Native American. I can't remember. Shoot, I should look that up before I do this. Okay. This is a very different poem, Wabigon. So this is based on Vietnam War. Okay. Did you ever hear a sound, smell something, taste something that brought you back to Vietnam instantly? Did you ever wonder when it would end? It ended for my brother. He died in the war, but he didn't fall down for 15 tortured years. His flashbacks are over, another casualty whose name will never be on the wall. Some can find peace only in death. The sound of his family crying hurt. The smell of the flowers didn't comfort us. The bitter taste in my mouth still sours me. How about a memorial for those who made it through the war but still died before their time? Okay, so this is referring to the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a wall, and it starts off small, and it gets very big, and then it gets kind of small again. And it's black marble, and then the names of all those who have died in Vietnam is etched in white. Okay, and what's interesting is when it rains, the names just kind of almost glow out of it. Okay, but otherwise you can't really see the names unless you get right up on top of it, and it's done by the year that somebody died in the Vietnam War. So he's saying that his brother went to Vietnam, died mentally, emotionally, but his body didn't die for 15 years. Okay, so what are your initial responses to this one? That bad, huh?
I like it.
Okay. It's definitely a different feel. Shorter lines, briefer, very clear as to what's happened to this guy. Okay. So think about what lines. And when I say what lines, I mean, I would say like this is a line, where we've got the sentence ending with it. You can look at those lines that way. Okay. So there's that one. Here's the last one. Oh, gracious, this is a hard one to read. Okay, so this is the last one that I had for today. E.E. Cummings. This guy was, as you can tell, he did not care about rules of punctuation, about lines, about stanzas, about spacing, nothing. He just did whatever he darn well pleased. Okay, you have to look up the one grasshopper. It's a grasshopper.
Cunningham does that freshman year. It's so much fun.
Oh, does he? Okay. When I was a junior in high school, we had to do a research paper on a poet. I chose E.E. Cummings because I thought he'd be easier. Oh my gosh, no. I'm still a little bit traumatized by that. So trying to understand him, and we didn't have the internet back then. I had to go to a university and check out books, and those were not helpful at all. But this is another kind of almost a Mother's Day reminder. But it also goes a little bit with some of our death themes as well. But this one I think is more helpful, okay? If there are any heavens, oops, sorry, get rid of that. If there are any heavens, my mother will, all by herself, have one. It will not be a pansy heaven, nor a fragile heaven of lilies of the valley, but it will be a heaven of black red roses. My father will be deep like a rose, tall like a rose, standing near my, swaying over her, silent, with eyes which are really petals, and see nothing of the face of a poet, really, which is a flower and not a face with hands, which whisper, this is my beloved, my suddenly in the sunlight he will bow, and the whole garden will bow. That's it. Okay. So pull from that whatever you like, whatever's interesting. Okay, sometimes and it helps to look at the spaces that he creates and the jumps, and then he's got these drops. This is my beloved, and then he doesn't finish that line. Why? Why doesn't he finish those lines? Why these gaps? And these gaps are purposeful. The spacing is purposeful. I copied this directly from a source, so this is exactly how the spacing goes. Think about why he did that. What the purpose of that is. All right. So these are the first 5. We'll do the next 5 on Thursday. I want you to read them, write them up, think about them, okay? And then give me some feedback on them. So this will be due, all 10 of them will be due by Friday. I am going to then on Monday and Tuesday assign prose prompts, okay? One of them, I just want you to come up with a good thesis sentence. The other one, you're going to do all by yourself. I am not going to go on either of them. I am not going to go over any of the text. I'm just going to give it to you cold because I've been kind of holding your hand through a lot of this. Now you got to do it just kind of cold on your own. I think you'll be able to handle it. I really do. But just kind of let your brain relax, get it doing something else, and then we're going to just do those last ones. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Would it be possible for you to send out like those 2 prompts like the day before they're due? Like, could you do the Monday one Sunday and the Tuesday one Monday? Because I have a calc test Tuesday. So I'd still like to get the practice in, but not have to worry about like writing an essay the day of my calc test.
I will, you know what, I'll try to get those out on Friday.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Let's do those Friday. I've still got to choose them. I'm still looking at the various prompts. And then that way you've got some time and you can just do it whenever you feel like doing it, or I'll give you that spacing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good request. Okay, any other questions, suggestions? Okay, great. Well then I will let you guys go. And we'll chat again on Thursday. If you have any questions or anything in the meantime, let me know, and I will try to email you out that link along with your code. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.